There's a little girl in my neighborhood. All right, let's learn a John Anderson song. This is a fun song called Seminole Wind. And we're just like all these songs. The first little segment here, we're going to go through just the chords alone. You are going to notice a pattern in this song, which is good. And if you can figure out this pattern, it's the same pattern over and over and over. For the verses, for the choruses, for any solo, for anything at all. It's that same pattern. And we're going to go over that right now. E minor is our first chord. You see that E minor on verse 1. Ever since the days of old, you're going to see that E minor for 2 beats. Let's start right there. Ready, play, E minor, E minor. Now go to G for 2 beats. Ready, play, G, G. D for 2 beats. Ready, play, D, D. Then A for 2 beats. Ready, play, A. That's actually the pattern right there for the whole entire song. It keeps going around and round and round. Line 2. They dig for silver. That's an E minor for 2 again. Ready, play, E minor, E minor. G for 2. Ready, play, and go. D for 2. Ready, play, D, D. Leave the empty hole. So there's an A for 2 beats. Ready, play, 1, 2. Way down south, you see the pattern? So let's just talk about the pattern instead of keep going through this verse. Let's just talk about this pattern. And here it is. It's E minor, G, G, D, D, A. That's the whole song. E minor, G, G, D, D, A. So you might, and it's okay to do like we're doing, just do 1 chord at a time. And we'll just go through the course on that too. But if you want to write that pattern down, E minor times 2, G times 2, D times 2, and A times 2, you can just practice that pattern. Let's do that course. All right, let's go. E minor, ready, play, E minor, G for 2, G, G, D for 2, D, D, A for 2, 1, 2, E minor, 1, 2, G for 2, G, G, D for 2, D, 2. Now A, 1, 2, E minor for 2. Now G for 2, 1, 2, D for 2, 1, 2. Now A for 2, 1, 2. Last line. Blow across the home. E minor for 2. Ready, play, 1, 2. Now G for 2, 1, 2. D for 2, 1, 2. Now A for 2, 1, 2. Now that little segment we just did, of course you can rewind that and practice on 1 chord at a time. When you're ready, we're going to go to the next segment where we're putting it together, still with no melody, but at least putting that pattern of chords together. All right, Seminole Wind. As we talked about in the first segment, but you may have skipped that because maybe you already know your chords. Maybe you're just getting into this. But there is a pattern to this song for every verse, every chorus, every solo. So sometimes you might want to just write on a little piece of paper somewhere. You might want to write this. E minor times 2, G times 2, D times 2, A times 2. And not even have to look at the lyrics. You don't even have to look at that lyric sheet. You can go over those 4 chords in that pattern and never, ever even change. That might be a good way to start right there without even looking at those words. Sometimes when we're looking at chords and then we look down at lyrics and we're looking back at our hands and figuring out, we kind of lose our place. So a song like this is a great example of just writing on some piece of paper somewhere the 4 chord pattern and just practice it over So that's what we're going to do right now, okay? If you look at line 1 of verse 1, those 4 chords are played over and over and over. Let's do that for a while. All right, get on that E minor, everybody. Ready, play E minor, G, D, A. Let's do that again. E minor, G, D, to A. Do it again. E minor, G, D, to A. Keep going. E minor, G, D, A, minor, G, So that was a whole verse and a chorus. As you see, same pattern through the whole song. All right, so if you want to work on it without the melody, just playing the chords and the beats and counting with no melody to distract you, keep working on this part until you're ready to move on to our next segment. That is putting it together with the melody.